Hey everybody, welcome to another Age of Grogu, and I'll go with me Elijah and Max. Guys, how's it going?
It's going.
It's going?
Yeah.
Yeah, work's pretty quiet right now. It's a bit of a strain on everything, but uh, you know, that's life. What did you guys get up to? Anything interesting, Max? What you been doing? You been doing any comic book collecting and stuff recently?
It's funny you said that. I haven't even
Uh-huh.
told
He's
you.
like, I
I
got
just
4
got
new
back.
long boxes
Uh-huh.
last week.
Oh yeah,
I
what
just
did
got
you?
back from a store.
Oh
Um,
jeez.
Not a grocery
they were
store.
doing.
Those are comic bags, not grocery bags.
Let me just. I got 126 books. They were 20 cents each.
Oh
Ah,
my god.
really? Oh my goodness. Where do you get
We can
these
start pulling
finds?
these out. I
Uh-huh.
have like almost a near complete set of Lucifer. I'm missing like 3
Uh-huh.
issues.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
is it
So
going to be
that,
hard for you to get up find those 3 issues now, or they just like, are they ultra
no.
rare ones, or they just you'll
For like
find them
a
and
few
finish the
dollars.
collection? Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I got. Let me see what else I can pull out. I got
Uh-huh.
a lot of Lucifer.
Jeez.
They were 20 cents each, so I just kind of said,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
why not?
Where was that from? From a convention or
It's a place called We Could Be Heroes in Chatsworth, over by
Okay.
you.
Oh, cool.
I got a
Awesome.
bunch of Animal Man stuff.
Nice.
Nice.
What else? More Lucifer in there. I got some Flash books.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mostly 70 issues of Lucifer.
Wow, that's crazy.
Nice.
Anything, Elijah, on your end?
Wonder
Did you
Woman.
catch any movies or anything? Or
No, it's been pretty quiet for me. I'll give my
okay,
updates next week on what's
okay,
going on because
fair
I've got
enough.
nothing to say at the moment.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I did check out Furiosa, and I did check out oh crap, what was the other one? Shoot. What else came out last week? Yeah, Furiosa was okay. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes I saw a few weeks ago, which I enjoyed. I did enjoy Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes a lot.
I have mixed feelings on Planet of the Apes. I'm seeing
Really?
Furiosa tomorrow. I'm sure
Okay.
I'll be, I'll have strong opinions, but I had very strong
Yeah.
opinions on Planet of the Apes.
Really? Really? Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in the future for sure. But I didn't mind it. I just felt that I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed the other Planet of the Apes. I wouldn't call it any better. I think the technology's improved a lot since we saw the first one. But same time, yeah, I enjoyed the story. Furiosa, on the other hand, was nowhere near up to the same level for me as what Fury Road was. I enjoyed Fury Road
Really?
a hell of a lot more. It just didn't have the same bite to its, to the movie itself, kind of thing.
I'm assuming from that it's less action.
Sorry?
I've never.
Oh,
The funny thing is, like,
yeah, yeah,
I have Fury Road on DVD, but I've
yeah.
never watched it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know it's just
wow.
sitting there. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, and now my I have a DVD Blu-ray player, and it's having a hard time reading Blu-rays for some reason.
Oh, really?
And I was gonna watch it, and it wasn't reading the disc. So
Oh, really?
Because I have like a cheap
Yeah.
one, but I need to
Multi
buy
one.
one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
But anyways, it's like, but I heard that it's. I'm assuming from that description that it's like that it's not as crazy as the first one.
It's not as crazy. I think here's the thing.
Less action, more.
It was a little bit more talk in Furiosa. Fury Road had less
Interesting.
talk, and it worked better because it had less talk.
It was a very dialogue light movie on purpose
Yeah,
to try and
yeah.
get you into that world.
Yeah, and this had a lot more dialogue, and it was obviously a prequel to the Fury Road film. But I felt like we could have just gone somewhere totally different and explored a completely different place and done something completely different, rather than get a prequel to a story that we kind of already had evolved in the sequel part of it. But either way, it was cool. So I know, Elijah, you have to get off pretty soon, but I did want to talk to you. That's cool. Yeah, I did want to talk to you though, and get your opinion on the trailer for Beetlejuice that dropped.
Oh
The
man.
long-awaited prequel. What were your
I know.
thoughts, man? Yeah.
Gosh, it's a mixed bag. It's like it's
Really?
for me. Yeah, it's a mixed bag of like I like this, I don't like this. It's like the Ghostbusters. It's like
Sure. Okay.
I like this, I don't like this.
What don't you like about this?
The one thing, I mean, it's hard to get out of my head because I hated it so much.
Uh-huh.
Was the Jim Carrey mask eyeballs coming out of his face?
Okay.
I mean, it looked worse than it looked in the Jim Carrey mask.
That was definitely
thing.
CGI.
And that was
in
supposed
the
to be.
trailer.
He was supposed to be a cartoon, so it
Okay.
makes sense in that. In this, I was like, "What are they doing? What are they doing? What was that? What was that?" Like, I didn't. That looked really, really bad to me. Really
Okay.
bad.
All right.
Things were like, they needed to get something in for a trailer and it's not done yet. I mean, I'm praying it's not that bad.
It could be.
It's really bad. It's really bad. It's like, oh, that out of everything in the trailer, that one.
Well, we don't even get to see it front on. We only get to see the back of his head, kind of thing.
No. Not
Right.
hey, get a load of this. Where like
Oh,
the
right.
scary thing. There's
Yeah.
a bit where his eyes like pop out and his mouth comes out.
In the
tongue.
trailer?
Yes, like Jim Carrey in the mask. His eyes go woo, and his tongue.
Wait.
goes,
What trailer did you watch? Because that's not.
It's in the trailer. It's in there real quick.
Was
in there
it?
real quick.
I
It's towards
missed.
the
Why
end.
did I miss that?
But
Okay.
it's really. It looks bad. I was like, oh no,
Okay.
what is like? Why would they even know? To me, that was just bad. But getting over
Okay.
that, it just I want it to be the original. It's not going to be the original. It has that more polished, glossy, like Tim Burton look to his movies now.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
high color and like very clean and
Right.
whatever
But
polished look
he's
he
not,
has.
he's using stop motion animation. We saw the stop
I mean,
motion.
some
with
of it's in there, some of it's not.
Yeah.
Like something like Sandworm is one shot was and one shot wasn't, and then
Right.
there's practical effects with like the makeup and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I want it to be good, but
I felt really
I don't know.
comfortable with the trailer.
And where's the Maitlands? I know that like the Maitlands like can't. I
Yeah.
mean, Gina, they're older and like, but Beetlejuice is older, and the whole point of that movie is that they're stuck in the house. So like,
Right.
writing the Maitlands out like completely, or not even having a shot of them like in a photograph or something, that is a little
Right.
weird to me because the first movie was about them, and now
Right.
this is like, it's
the parents.
it's like a Ghostbusters 2 when they're like reflecting off the cartoon and everything that like I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I'm cautious about it. It looks cool, but I don't know. That last trailer made me think. I don't know.
well, I feel like that was an early trailer because the movie doesn't come out till September. So
I know,
got
and that's
at
what I'm
least one more
saying.
trailer.
I mean, I'm hoping
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's good, and I think
Yeah.
it maybe just trailer didn't lend, but like the one eyeball shot where his eyes pop out
Okay.
is not okay with me. Like I'm
Okay.
really upset about it, and it just makes no sense, and it looks bad.
I mean, I'm
A huge nitpick, but I like everything else. I mean, everybody's
Okay.
there. The cast is great. Everything's great.
Yeah,
Danny
it looks like a
DeVito
good
is in
cast.
it. Danny
I was
DeVito
gonna-
has a shot, like he's like the
Yeah.
janitor or something like that.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe looks cool.
That looks cool. It looks cool. I just hope it's good.
Yeah.
It's hard
I
to
feel
tell
like
from that
I
trailer.
don't know. I felt very comfortable with the trailer. I felt it was going to be.
Yeah,
man.
Jenna Ortega.
yes. Jenna Ortega is going to be the best part. Yes, sure. I
When she's riding her bike and when she's wearing the
she's
dress,
doing very,
and when
but she's doing very well this year. This
course.
past couple of years, she's been doing very well.
And the new, she's the new
Yeah.
girl. The new
Yeah,
dark
I mean,
girl. The dark
we
whatever.
we saw Catherine O'Hara at the end there, in, one or two of the scenes and everything. So I'm.
Can you play a little? Can you play a bit of the trailer real quick?
I don't really
You don't
want
want
to
to, you don't want
because
to.
I'll get monetized from it, and then it's like
You
then-
just scroll to
yeah.
the shot where his eyes are popping
Yeah.
out for me, and so we can look at it.
I'd have to find it. Hang on a second. All right, hang on. Give me half a second.
I just want Max to see how bad it is. 'Cause
It's okay. Hang on a second. Give me a second here.
it's in the last last quarter of the trailer. It's
Okay,
the
I
shot
I
of
don't think
Beetlejuice.
Elijah needs to time travel to meet Jenna Ortega. I mean,
I mean, I'm surprised we didn't have cross. I don't know.
I was about to say, like, you work in the same industry as her. You could eventually meet her.
I'm gonna get a photo of Jenna Ortega, and I'm gonna put it print it on a T-shirt and send it to Anchorman.
Okay.
Be careful, he'll wear it every day.
I know.
Okay. All right, so hang on a second. I'm going to hook up this link. Let's see. Give me half a second. All right, so you're going to get this out of context. Says Max, you have not yet seen this trailer, but I don't want to show the full trailer because
It's Beetlejuice. He's
as I said-
dead. He knows what's in it.
I think I could pick up on context clues on Beetlejuice.
All right, okay, all right. So
Just
hang on a
watch
second.
the last bit of this.
Okay, I'm going to turn the volume down then. In that
That's
case.
fine. Everybody watch how bad this is.
Okay,
Comes in. Not this. Oh. Well,
okay. I mean, this is regular Beetlejuice things where he slaps the
Beetlejuice
thing on
thing.
it. Yeah.
I'm about to say it looks like Beetlejuice.
Yeah. See,
not that.
that's-
Not that.
Not that.
Okay, you have to go further back. You have to
Further
go
back, I don't even remember what you're talking about. So
I know. It's so quick, but it looks so bad. It makes me mad. It had to be just before where you played it.
I honestly don't remember what you're talking about. So it's
Well,
like,
now you're just playing it, so just keep it going.
yeah,
Keep it
right,
going.
okay, all right. I
We're-
guess
we're
we'll get
talking,
monetized, but whatever.
I'd be surprised.
Okay,
it's coming.
I do not know what you're talking about.
Keep watching. I don't know. It's airplane shot. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, the airplane shot was definitely a little weird. I agree.
Yeah, it's that. It's like why? Why is that there? It's super weird every time again.
See, again, it's like
That!
Oh, okay.
Oh!
that was
that.
bad.
What?
That was horrible.
What?
It's
was
so.
bad.
It's really bad. Look, that's really bad.
What? It's no different than
no,
it's no
bad.
different than
That's
the
horrible.
when they do the faces of the first
No,
Beetlejuice when they pull
no,
their faces
no,
down, they roll
different.
the eyes. Oh my god! Because it's CGI. Is that it?
Just because it
No, it
looks,
just looks bad.
it just you know what I'm saying, right, Max? Right? You agree with me?
Yeah, it looks a little hokey.
It looks
The second I
no
saw that, I
different.
was
No,
that?
that looks no
It does
different.
look-
Yeah, when did you last watch Beetlejuice? Come on, the original.
Just recently.
Really?
It was
No.
on in a Firehouse subs when I
And
was
the one
in
when
there.
they're pulling the face off, it stops and it's a side shot of a claymation thing, and it's like
Yeah. Right.
like Pee Wee Herman, like the large
Sure.
Marge.
Yeah, that's
for a
that's
second.
part of the
It's like,
character.
what?
That's
But
part of the
this is-
character.
No, this is no. It's different. This is different. It doesn't work.
Oh
That's
no! Oh no!
doesn't.
Oh dear! Elijah's on cancel culture for
No,
Beetlejuice.
I don't like it. That's the eyeballs.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Now I'm ranting for like half the time, and I'm gonna be eyeballs.
Okay.
I don't like-
So, I mean,
And it better be just an unfinished effect for the.
I agree. I agree.
I just think
No,
it's Tim Burton
that's-
trying to get back to his campiness and his
Yeah.
original and kind of. I think he's kind of failing
It
at it.
should've
I don't
gotten-
know.
it
I don't mean
should've
that.
a little bit. It should've-
I mean, the trailer for me as a trailer itself, though, it was fine.
Yeah, it seems fine.
It
I'm
maybe
just mad about
it
the
hyped up enough of what Beetlejuice was. It's obviously we're setting up the whole. It's gonna, he was when we last saw him, he was in line for 1 million and whatever.
Yeah.
Before he got picked.
He's
And
finally
it
up.
seems like he's gonna get his line, to the end of his line. So, and be pulled out of the line and be assessed or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, as a film, I'm excited to see it. I saw the trailer on the big screen. It was cool to see on the big screen. It was on at the beginning of
Oh
the
yeah,
Fury,
yeah,
so-
that's cool. I wanted to see the full trailer. Like we saw it. I knew it was going to be in front of Ghostbusters. We got to see the TV trailer. But teaser.
Yeah. Ghostbusters, I still had a little issues with the last one, but
Oh, so you have issues? How trivial? How?
No.
trivial.
It definitely wasn't as.
I'm just messing with you.
The last
But
one
that's-
wasn't. it wasn't as good as
you
Afterlife. I
saying
said.
that,
I think I
that's-
said it before. No, I just say.
It's not controversial.
You know
It
what?
just didn't have the same approach.
You know,
I said
Elijah,
before I was ranting on Beetlejuice.
we could wait till the trailer. We could wait till the movie comes out, and I definitely want to get your opinion on.
Oh, I'm sure I'm
Beetlejuice
going to
2.
like it.
We're all going to
I'm-
see it.
I'm
We're
gonna
going to
like
see it.
I'm just upset
Yeah.
about those eyeballs. That's it.
Well,
That's why I
again,
don't
it's
like
early trailer. I mean, there's still 6 months out before.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Not
I
even
hope
that.
God
4
it's
months
just,
out. Yeah.
Not finished.
Yeah.
And works better because that looked bad.
Either way, I'm excited to see it.
All right, now that I ranted about Beetlejuice, I gotta go.
You gotta go. All right, man.
No,
That's
what's
cool.
your next topic? Maybe I can hang out for this.
Our next topic was going to be just little bits and pieces.
Young
like,
Jedi. Okay, no, I'm out of here.
What's that? What?
Young Jedi Academy. I
No.
don't wanna think about that. I'm outta here.
Actually, my next topic was George Lucas.
Oh, Hi, everybody. I'm Kermit the Frog.
Shut up. He turned 80 this last week.
Oh, he's awesome.
What's that?
That's awesome. Look how happy
Yeah.
he is. Go back to that photo.
What's that? Well, he actually was honored a Palme d'Or. I can't remember the Cannes Film Festival.
Palme d'Or.
Palme d'Or, presented by Francis Ford Coppola. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I guess it's like
It's one of the big honorary prizes at Cannes.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, aside obviously from making Star Wars and Indiana Jones and some of the biggest blockbusters, he created so much in the industry, and I feel like that's
Industrial Light and Magic. I mean, it's his company set it up. It's
Skywalker Sound, everything. Yeah. He was the brainwave behind that.
I mean,
and people still give him crap for Howard the Duck. I haven't seen it for years.
He lies awake at night saying, "I wish people would forget Howard the Duck."
Probably. But here's the thing. He did have an interview, and one of the interviews said that he says the negative response to the prequel trilogy came from the critics and the fans who had been 10 years old when they saw the first films and didn't know what or didn't want to watch a children's movie. It is a kids' movie, and it always will be a kids' movie. So, Elijah,
a lot of Senate meetings and hearings and
yes.
Hearings, Senate. Oh my gosh, how boring is that?
But I'm just gonna go on and say that he always meant them to be kids' films, and simple as that. So, I love the prequels. I enjoy the prequels for the child and the child at heart. Simple as that. That's why I had to pull that up before you left, because it was
He did some good things. I can agree with you. He's
an
amazing man. He did some good things.
Yeah.
Some other things that I don't know.
Totally. And jumping across from Lucas to Spielberg briefly, they mentioned this week, Spielberg's got this UFO film that he's going to be doing in May of 2026. I don't think it's going to be anything connected to anything. I think it's going to be a new film.
No, this is going to be a realistic one. Because he's a UFO head. He actually believes in aliens. So this might be like an actual his arrival movie or something like trying to be I guess that's what Close Encounter was really like. He took that very seriously.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So maybe this is like another Close Encounters type of
that'd be cool.
So he's
got a lot of movies about aliens.
He has.
Did you ever see
for him to do another alien movie? It's kind of surprising. So it better be something like the Oppenheimer of alien movies.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be an ET kind of thing. Maybe it will be an ET type story, but maybe you'll go back to a kids element of film.
No, I'm going to break down the U.S. actually is holding government.
It could be
UFO chips for real.
Yeah, no, it could be something like that too. Well, the thing is, he's already done that. Did you ever see? He produced a series called Taken that was on the Sci-Fi Channel about 20 years ago, and it's about.
I know that. Yeah, maybe, but I know that
it takes course over the course of generations of 6 generations or 3 generations of people, family members, both in the military and and it started off with from things like 1950s, I married an alien from outer space and this and that, as well as the military stuff and Area 51 and all that sort of stuff. But then the actual series developed into the 60s, and then it went through all of the different alien conspiracies of the 60s, and then it kind of brought it through into the early 2000s, where it concluded a development of a story arc that was actually a really cool series. If you get a chance,
I remember that. And that's why I was saying, if this could be a very realistic or very
it was a very realistic.
Equal,
it was
whatever,
and it was just I haven't watched. I've got it on DVD actually. I haven't watched it for a couple of years, but it's worth the watch. It's I watched it on television when it first aired, but it was a cool show.
UFOs, aliens are coming.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, I gotta go. I gotta split. But,
all right, Elijah.
I'll see you guys next week.
Okay, cool, man. Thanks for joining us.
Later.
All right, so Max, what? I mean, there's been so much. Okay, you said you haven't seen Furiosa yet, right?
No, I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Okay, all right. I'm going to point out one thing, a behind the scenes kind of thing that I felt kind of like about 2 years ago back in Australia, there was this kid who was bullied, and I don't know if you saw it, but it did make media news over here. And this kid was being bullied because it was just his dwarfism and stuff like that. And it ended up that George Miller actually took this kid and put him in the film and gave him a role in the film. So keep an eye out for that kid in the film. He, doesn't have a huge role, but it's like, he gets a good couple of minutes of screen time kind of thing. It was kind of a cool moment that this bullied kid could become be taken note of. I think he's like about 10 years old or something like that.
Nice.
But, yeah. Bye bye, grumpy Elijah. Oh dear. Elijah has his point of view. But yeah, I just found that kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm curious to your thoughts on Furiosa. Definitely can't wait to talk about it. But I did have a couple of problems with it. It was long, and it felt long. And I actually, for the first time in a long film in a while, I've sat there and looked at my watch, going, when's this going to kind of complete up, kind of thing. And so it did drag in a few areas. It wasn't a bad film. It was just the stunt work was okay, but they did better stunt work, I felt, in Road Fury.
Yeah, I think he took a different approach than Fury Road this time.
Fury
Road was
yep.
was one of the most grueling movies of all time. I think he saw that completely negatively affected his cast members to the point where he didn't think he could work with Charlize Theron or Tom Hardy again, which is why he made this movie a prequel so differently with Anya Taylor-Joy, because he put those cast members through hell, and he couldn't do that again.
Right.
So he took a completely different approach, which meant
yeah.
doing shit CGI, doing things safer.
The CGI was much more noticeable, I was going to say, in this film.
Yeah, because in the first movie, that was the whole appeal of Fury Road. I should say the first movie. In the last movie, that was the whole appeal, was there would be these giant shots in the desert of the cars going by,
very physical
happening, and there would be the war boys jumping from car to car, and the whole appeal was no CGI. And they did it. The only thing they did was color grade it, which was that was the appeal of the first movie. And then this movie, you just can't do that anymore. It's
right.
It was too dangerous the first time, but it also put his cast members through too much hell.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. No, oh, you slept through the first watch of Furiosa? You know what? That was the problem. I mean, I was actually getting a little tired in some of those areas. Again, it was like, as I said, it wasn't a bad film, but it also kind of, in the box office right now, it's only making like $31 to $34 million over this long weekend over here. I think
I heard it's the lowest Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend box office in years.
But giving it credit, it is a rated R film, so you're not always going to get a lot of kids, that sort of thing. And the other film that's out there right now is Garfield, which is the other box office, which is like, do a lot of kids really care about Garfield these days?
I will say I love the marketing of them so confidently not even putting the name of the movie on the poster. They just put a picture of Garfield and the Garfield movie, but it doesn't say Garfield anywhere on the poster. They're so confident kids will be like, yeah, Garfield's got a new movie coming out. We're going to see it.
Right. Other stuff that happened this week, May 25th, yesterday actually, Star Wars A New Hope turned, 47? No, wait, I've lost count. Whatever. Basically, we have anniversaries for A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and Solo, which always happen on the same day each year. But we're kind of like in those in-between mid-years kind of thing. But Solo is now 6 years old, and Return of the Jedi is now 41 years old. And A New Hope is, 47, something like that. I don't know. And then what was the other thing? Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace received an earnings of $15 million worldwide from its re-release, putting it back in the top 50 highest-grossing films of all time. Elijah would have loved that one.
You should have waited. That should have been what you led with.
I should have led with that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll say most of that money is from Jar Jar Binks supporters.
So IMAX have put a slate out for their films coming out between now and the next couple of years. We've got Brave New World, which is February 15th. Ryan Coogler, Jordan.
That's their vampire movie that they
that's the vampire one? Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know if you've seen anything about it, but they heard a while ago that the rumors were Blade was going to be a period piece initially.
Right, okay.
everyone in Hollywood thought it was so cool that they were making like an 18th century vampire hunting movie
Yeah.
with like, so Ryan Coogler was
Okay.
like, got with Michael B. Jordan, and they basically, even though they both work with Marvel, they
Right.
were like, hey, that's a sick concept. We're going to do it better, and we're going to do it first. It's not going to be
Okay.
attached to any Marvel
Interesting.
movies, and we're going to make our own sick, I think it's like an 18th, 19th century vampire hunting
Oh, I didn't know
movie.
about that. Oh, okay. Well, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Because Blade's
They
still on
can't
the
beat
slate.
Blade.
Yeah, Blade's
I
still on the
know.
slate, but it's
They
like
got
November
so lucky
7th
with how much Blade
of
got
next
pushed
year.
back and all that.
Yeah.
They filmed already. I don't think Blade even filmed.
Really? Yeah, no, Blade hasn't filmed, but I didn't realize they'd filmed this other film already. Obviously, they would if it's coming out March 7th. We got Thunderbolts May 2nd, Flower Vale Street, I don't know what that is. Mission Impossible 8 still slated for next year. How to Train Your Dragon, the live action, is going to be interesting. Same director as the
I did
animated
not know
series.
that was a live action that was coming.
Yeah, June 13th next year. They've been shooting it, and I've seen a couple of images.
I feel like people miss the point of animated films when they keep doing that. Like,
But here's the thing:
lose
it's the
so
same
much of the
director who
charm.
directed and wrote and created who wrote and based it off the original
I know,
books.
but it's hard to capture the same charm of animated characters. with
Sure,
live-action actors.
Disney have not nailed it, but here's the thing: this is going to be, this is DreamWorks or Universal who are doing it. So
I don't think it's really about studio. I think, when you look at Netflix's like Avatar, I think it's the same way. Even if the
Yeah.
performances are great and the story's great, it's just so hard to capture that same magic you get from an animated character.
I agree.
They
Yeah,
emote completely differently, they behave differently.
Yeah.
You kind of feel different kind of compassion towards an
Yeah.
animated character than a person.
Yeah, the Dragons films, honestly, they're up there along with Spider-Man and Spider-Verse for me. They're some of my favorite animated films. So I still don't know how I feel about the live action How to Train Your Dragon, but at the same time, I'm excited to see what they do. Only because it is the same director, and he did a great job at doing stuff with the first one. We've got an untitled Formula One movie. We've got Superman Legacy, July 11th. Fantastic Four, July 25th. We've got all these movies again dropping within, superhero films dropping within the same month of each other. Mercy, I'm not too sure what that's about.
Superman and Fantastic Four are trying to. It's going to be the race. It's going to be Marvel trying to keep their head, saying, how do we compete against this new James Gunn-led DC? I mean, they're starting with Superman, which is the natural point that Superman or Batman is what you're going to start with if you're going to lead a DC.
No,
and it's, first family of Marvel versus the OG DC hero.
Yeah. So I guess in two cases we've had, versions of these characters before, but, it's going to be an interesting month that month. Maybe they'll do it joint. You know what? If they do it smart enough, they will do it like they did with Barbie and Oppenbarbie or whatever.
They're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that.
This is going to be way too competitive.
Yeah, fair enough.
Barbie and Oppenheimer were two different audiences.
And nobody.
It's like they can do that marketing together because there wasn't that kind of crossover.
Sure.
This is going to be a bloodbath of. Because ticket sales are already not great right now in general. It's like, how do we get audiences to see our movie instead?
Yeah.
And I think
will Disney be back?
I think DC. That's the thing. Disney wants the crown. But DC's starting something new, and people like new. They're going to want to give it a chance.
Yeah. No, I agree. Then we've got a few more. The Bride, I don't know anything about. Tron Ares, which, again, it's like the Tron films never really did it for me, but I respect
I'm going to be honest. My secret is I hate Tron.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing is dumb. It's made by a guy who doesn't understand computers.
Sure.
Everything about it is dumb.
Okay.
It never made any sense to me.
Yeah. But, the second one made enough money that they finally got their 10 years later, or several years later to...
They've been trying to make this movie for 10 years.
I know, yeah, exactly. Of course, Blade is out the following year. Wait, Blade is out next year? Oh, yeah, maybe it is next year.
They keep saying that, but every time I hear about it, it's we've lost our writer.
Yeah, I know. They did that again, actually. I think there's another update on that.
I think do you know what the genuine problem with Blade is?
Yeah.
So this is the actual problem with Blade, is before the first Blade movie, he was a different character. He was kind of like a disco-inspired vampire hunter, and that was before the time he was even really a daywalker, because originally he was just a vampire hunter.
Okay.
And then then right before the Blade movie came out, I think right before it, he had
We're talking
turned
about
into a
the we're
Walker.
talking about the Blade film from the
Yeah, Wesley
90s.
Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, yeah, which I enjoyed,
Right
but
before
yeah,
that came out in like '97, he gets turned into a Daywalker vampire,
yeah,
and his origins kind of get retconned. And then the Blade movie comes out, and he gets that whole new aesthetic. That's where all that
right.
black leather comes from, and that's where all the
The
sleekness of
black
Blade comes
leather
from.
90s that we're
But
used to seeing for the superheroes.
yeah,
Yeah,
here's the crazy thing.
yeah,
In that time, since the '90s, even since now, even since the '70s when he was conceived, Blade has only been in has had 30 solo issues of comic books
right.
throughout like 4 or 5 different volumes. We've only had 30 issues of Blade comics.
Yeah,
He is one of the thinnest characters that people just love because of the movies. But
right.
even Marvel writers no one knows what to do with Blade because he has no story. It's like his story. Every time a new
Interesting.
writer comes in, they just retcon everything, try and make him cool, try and make him more Wesley Snipes, maybe less
Right.
Wesley Snipes, and it's like he has so little life that it's not like Spider-Man where he
Within
has
the comic book
thousands
world, you
of
mean?
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's not. He's just
Yeah.
he doesn't have as many appearances. I mean, he's been on the
Right.
Avengers for a little bit, but even then, he doesn't really do much.
Right.
I don't know. I think Blade's one of those characters where no one really knows what to do with. Anytime a new writer comes in, their instinct is we're just going to Wesley Snipes it, and then it becomes too much like what they've already done because there's nothing else besides that. He's such a thin character.
But I mean the Wesley Snipes version. I don't think I saw Blade 3, but I did see Blade 1 and 2, and I thought Blade 1 was a little Blade 1 was a little better than Blade 2 from what I remember. But
Blade 3 has Ryan Reynolds in it.
Oh really? I didn't know that. That's funny. He gets around, doesn't he? But
there's actually one really impressive behind the scenes thing in Blade 3. I can't remember the actress. I think it was like Jessica Biel or something like that. But whoever the female lead in the movie was had to shoot a bow and arrow, and she's supposed to shoot a bow and arrow towards the camera, and they had this whole plexiglass thing to block the lens and the camera from all that. And there's just a small little hole, and they're like, there's no way she could hit the actual through this small hole and hit the actual lens. That would be impossible. And from like 20 feet away, something like that, 30 feet away, she ended up piercing through the camera for her first shot.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't know that.
Bullseye.
That's funny. Hey there, Anchorman.
Hey.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that actual story. Just jumping on the side there, other things that are still coming out. Netflix released their first image from Stranger Things 5. Do you think this is kind of like beating a dead horse at this point? Because I feel like
I like Stranger Things. My problem is I think Netflix gives these creatives too much leeway to the point where there's like no restraint. They just put all their ideas in there. I feel like there's no producer saying, hey man, maybe we should scale it back and make it like really cohesive and tight.
Yeah,
because these like the episodes we got like they're like 2-hour-long episodes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, last season was just like there was so much boring stuff in between. Yeah, I
think these people don't realize like no one has time to sit and watch a 2-hour episode every night to finish a season. It's just it's a hard watch. To be honest. That's why I haven't gone back to it. Yeah. I think it's a great show, though. I think the ideas are great. I think they need a little bit of restraint.
But yeah, I mean, I felt like they could have wrapped it up last season. I feel like last season could have wrapped up and been done with it. It just felt like it was a good way to end it. And I think they wrap every season up as if it could be an ending if they don't get picked up for a new season. But
yeah, I think this is going to be their last season. They already said that. If it is, they need to make it as tight as possible. They can't be doing like, well, since our last season, we're going to do 4-hour episodes. Yeah, it's like that didn't work for me at all last season. It made the season like I really like the ideas. The length made it. Yeah, it made it drag just in terms of my ability to sit and watch it. It's tiring.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very tiring to watch, especially if you want to watch 2 episodes. Like it's 4 hours of your life. That's the Snyder cut.
Yeah. Did you see the Alien Romulus trailer that dropped a few weeks ago?
Yeah, it was in the Planet of the Apes.
That's it. I saw that too. It looks interesting. I mean, they're obviously trying to.
I like slasher Alien more than lore-driven Alien, and I think I'm way more excited for this than I am any of those Alien TV shows that's been announced.
I don't know. See, I'm kind of curious to see what the Alien TV show could be about because I'm hoping that'll give some stuff time to develop and whatever. I don't know if film has got anything to do with the TV show that drops next year, but I mean, I'll probably check it out. It looks like they're going back to the basics with being on a ship and bunch of people face off with an alien or aliens of some sort. So it could be interesting, but I feel like. I still got the action adventure from Aliens a lot more. The first Alien was always meant to be the horror, and it did its job. And the second one, Aliens, for me, is still the perfect film. I enjoyed the action. I enjoyed the suspense that was done into it. I felt like they got this great ability of, flow through, and I'm hoping that's what either the TV show will end up by being, or we'll see something from this film. But
maybe, I mean... I don't know. I think they're focusing on two different aspects of Alien right now. It seems like the movie is going to be that classic Alien vibe of action mixed with slasher, with really tense sci-fi imagery and stuff like that. I think the show is going to be that lore-driven Prometheus style Alien. That's more the modern Alien that some people like.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to tick both boxes, and I do like the vibe of Aliens, but I do like Alien 1 just because of that.
Oh, Alien is its own separate film
element.
Oh, totally, yeah. It's its own separate film, and it was cool the way it was shot, and production design was gorgeous and everything. But yeah,
all the gear designs in those movies are just amazing.
Oh, sure, yeah. He had all hands on he was fully hands on with everything though, so that's what made them work at the time. Of course,
it always just blows me away when you see like H.R. Giger work on stuff like that. It's just like you always wonder why more filmmakers don't pair with these like great artists when they're available to them.
Yeah, I agree. Something else that dropped this week. They dropped the title for the new Knives Out film, Wake the Dead Man. I enjoyed the first two Knives Out movies. I thought they were great.
Yeah, I love them. This one's supposed to be a little darker, which I like too. I mean, I'm sure it's going to have that little bit. It's still going to be a comedy. I mean, Benoit Blanc cannot not make people laugh. He's always funny.
They're scheduled to shoot it early next year, I think I read. So it'll probably end up on Netflix like at the end of next year or something like that, if not the beginning of the following year.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Glass Onion. I think it was every bit as good as Knives Out, if not maybe better.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
If you could three-peat it, that'd be great. I mean, it's funny. I really want to like the Murder on the Orient Express movies that guy's doing. They all are so bad. I'm gonna be honest. They are just like he directs them, and I can't remember his name, the British guy.
Yeah. But Rian Johnson has done to the Knives Out films what should have been the Knives.
Those movies are so bland and boring. Every bit about it just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And you see Knives Out, and you're like, oh, this is what a competent filmmaker could do.
That's it.
With a great murder mystery.
I still want to see Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy. I mean, I say it. I
think Rian Johnson's great. I know that's controversial to say in a Star Wars themed podcast.
Yeah.
But I think he's a great filmmaker that was maybe not the right fit for that moment in Star Wars.
I agree there. I agree. Yeah.
It doesn't mean he shouldn't. I wouldn't like to see more of his Star Wars stuff because some of his ideas were cool and great, but it was just a bad moment in time for anyone but J.J. Abrams stepping in because it's the story he set up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree there. We won't go into that now because that's a whole conversation anyway. It always is a whole conversation when it comes down to that. One day we're going to make that conversation happen, but at the same time, we'll want a lot more people on at the time. Lord of the Rings. We're getting more movies of Lord of the Rings around Gollum, which don't exist in the books apparently.
Not that I've heard of. I mean,
Andy Serkis and Peter Jackson.
I feel like this is going to be controversial. I think Andy Serkis is having some terrible choices of movies in the last few years.
Yeah,
I mean, from Venom to a Lord of the Rings prequel sequel thing. This dude has such immense
his
talent.
Mobley film didn't do very well. It kind of disappeared in between everything too.
I think he's saying yes to direct because they're giving him the opportunity, which is great. If you're someone like him, and you want to direct, but I feel like they're throwing him to the wolves with these movies.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's obviously studios want to make more money on the Lord of the Rings films. I think we wait and see what the animated film that comes out later this year and how
The
that
War
does.
of Rohan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see it. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see what it feels like. And
I'm more
if
excited for that than I
that
am Rings of Power. Rings of Power season 2 looks as boring as the first
I have
one.
no interest in, like, there's nothing in the trailers for Rings of Power that do it for me. I agree. I don't even think I'm going to sit and watch them. That's, I mean,
Compared to
which is,
House of the Dragon season 2, when you see that trailer,
yeah, I
it's
know. And
all emotion.
both of them come out in June, I think, right? So
Yeah,
both
they're doing
issues.
this same thing again, where they're like, we're
Yeah,
going to run them at the same time, try and compete with each other because they both spent all their money on these and they both need theirs to be a
yeah,
successful fantasy thing.
right. But you have to say here though, it's lovely for Lord of the Rings fan to get more content and stuff like that. Yeah, that's great. But if the content doesn't stick to Tolkien's style, or if
No,
it's
I
just
think it's good for
more
them
filler.
if it is good for them. So
But
I'm
a
very
lot of them have actually,
preliminary
but
in
a lot of them have
Tolkien.
also complained about the Rings of Power because there's stuff that's missing, and it's missing obviously because they're not
That's the
allowed to
hard
shoot
part.
it
That's
because
no,
the rights have been split up so much
yeah.
between different. They can only get a
They can
piece
only have
of a
access to, I
story.
think, certain ages. But
I
like, the
think
thing
that's
is,
the problem.
I'm pretty preliminary to Tolkien. I've read all the Lord of the Rings and books and The Hobbit, but I
Right?
couldn't get to the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
So Rings of Power just feels even more daunting to me because
Fair enough.
I know what's going on even less.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
Um, I'm
Yeah.
way more excited for something like the Dune show, which it feels
Sure.
weirdly more accessible than Lord of the Rings when Dune
Right.
is I usually a bit less accessible than
Well,
Lord of the
Dune's
Rings.
IP is kind of stuck. It's not split up like Lord of the Rings is it, that I'm
No,
aware of.
no.
Yeah. So in other words, one film company can actually work off of it and not have the feel of being threatened, of being, of being
And I
sued
also
because they're
believe
using it.
they have the same executive producers on the both Dune movie and the Dune
Okay.
show
Oh,
because
that
I
works.
think they're going off of Brian Herbert and Kevin Anderson's work, and I think they're both
Right.
producers on each
Yeah.
project.
Right. Yeah. Another show that opens, I think, is it next month or this coming month? The Boys,
The boys.
and season 5 has been renewed at Amazon, which is like no real shocker there because it's doing really well. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing what this next season. I love Gen V, which aired a few months ago, and I've enjoyed The Boys 1 through to, 3 at this point, and season 4 is going to
Yeah,
be
I mean, The
interesting.
Boys is one of those interesting things where it's so much better than the original source material because they
Right.
just it's smarter, it's more clever, it's more relevant,
Yeah.
it's less gross out in your face satire and more smart kind of gritty satire.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that they're just doing all of what they're doing. They're doing what they're doing so well without trying to fall into the same evil Superman tropes that everyone likes to fall into. I think it's
Yeah.
the same thing with Invincible, where Invincible's not just
Yeah.
doing evil Superman takes over the world. Both
Right.
the stories kind of subvert that in a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
ways,
Yeah.
in very divergent ways. But I think
Sure. Yeah.
the reason why The Boys is working is it's not trying to play off of the MCU success anymore.
No.
It's more trying to tell a very good story.
Yeah. No, I agree. So we'll definitely do breakdowns and talk about those episodes for sure. I'm sure
Oh, you know what else
when they
dropped
come
today?
out.
I haven't
Oh,
watched it
yeah.
yet. Was My
What's it?
Adventures with Superman.
Oh, really? Season 2?
It came. The first episode came out today. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I started watching season 1. I couldn't quite get into it. Maybe I'll go back and
What?
rewatch.
Oh my
Well,
god,
I
it's
couldn't get
so
into
good.
I couldn't get into the first couple of episodes,
It
and the thing
is
I also
so
don't have
good.
I don't
You
have
will be
Max either. So
crying by the end of the
yeah,
season.
yeah.
It
I don't
is.
really. Okay.
Yeah, it's so good.
All right. I mean I don't have the
My big problem is
HBO
having to do the
Max.
villains, but
Yeah.
even with that, the
Okay.
Superman and Lois story
All
is
right.
incredible.
I would take your judgment on that. When I get the chance to, I might have to borrow Jason's HBO Max and go into that and watch it then, because I've only really seen the first couple of episodes. But Now we'll get to Acolyte in a few
Oh yeah, that
minutes.
comes out soon
Yeah,
too.
there's a lot of
Out
stuff.
there, they just
Yeah,
did the
well, it's
premiere.
it's next. Yeah, not this week, but the following week. Yeah, we're
Oh
definitely
my
going to get
god,
that.
already?
There's been, but we haven't been on for a couple of weeks, but there's been a whole ton of little bits and pieces, so we've got a few more things to cover here. This one, Terminator animated series, comes out
Oh my
August 4th.
god, really?
Yeah, um, there's been very little on this. It just suddenly dropped these images last week,
Is
so
who's involved with it? Is it just like someone had the rights, or is?
no idea. Anime series. It's an anime series releasing June 29th on Netflix. That's all I know in these couple of images. So obviously they're taking the look of Arnold Schwarzenegger and not putting him into any of these images. So they're going with a
Well, he's the Terminator. They kind of have to. I mean, although there
well, I
have
don't
been
look at it like
Terminators,
that. The bottom right
like
there, I
Michael
think it's supposed to be
Patrick.
the Terminator. I don't feel like that looks like Arnold's look. So it's unless it's a different looking Terminator, but I don't know. I mean, I guess that'll depend on likeness and whether or not they're actually allowed to use Arnold's likeness for the
Probably
Terminator.
not. I mean,
So
Arnold's pretty protective over his likeness because he's one of those
yeah.
such like huge recognizable celebrities.
Oh yeah.
And he's like
Yeah.
he was a governor, but that's the thing. He's a public figure,
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah.
the lines could be blurred.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Also, Gremlins season 2, the animated series, is coming out later this year. They don't have an
Oh
exact release
yeah,
date. I didn't mind season 1. It actually had some surprisingly really dark, humorous moments that were like, whoa! I was quite shocked actually. The CG, the animation itself didn't really appeal to me, but I did like the storytelling because we got a lot of very Asian and Chinese related myths that Americanization you wouldn't normally see. So you get to see some of these other entities of of Asia and China and they intervened and interconnected with some dark demons and stuff like that, which I found very fascinating. It's always fun when you learn a culture's background through their mythologies or that sort of stuff. I'm always enjoying that sort of thing.
for sure.
But I'll check out season 2 for sure. Spider-Man. We've got
Oh,
also yeah. We're going to some. We're going into
the
yeah.
man who
So,
will say yes to anything
yeah,
finally
exactly.
found something people were like memeing about, and he goes,
Yeah,
"Yeah, that sounds great."
yeah, yeah. What are your thoughts about that, Dick
Train
Nolte?
wreck. What is man like, how old? It's like 60 years old.
Well, he's
How
only
the
voicing
only
it though.
way
It's
this
an
works-
animation. So
No, it's live
oh, it's
action.
live action. Wait, what?
Live action.
Oh, it is.
noir
Oh,
series.
wait. See, here's the weird thing. It says we'll play Spider-Man Noir in Prime Video's live action. Oh, okay, live action Noir series. Okay,
This
so
is what's
it is
great.
the
I think
shit.
they
It
should
is.
just do what the comics do. And so in the Spider-Man Noir, one of the kind of jokes that the recurring jokes with the character is that he's still 19 years old. So
Right.
he's doing all this crazy shit, talking beyond his years, but he's
Right.
19 years old.
Okay.
I think it'd be really funny if they just keep insisting that Nicolas Cage is 19.
Yeah,
If they
that's
lean
gonna be
into
a
the
problem.
absurdism.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem for sure. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to think about it.
I also
It
think
was just
none of Amazon's spider shows have gone forward, actually. I mean,
sure.
like, let's look
Yeah.
at Silk. Silk's was in development for like five,
Gone,
6
done.
years.
Yep.
I mean, in that time, I could have written 12 seasons of Silk TV shows.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know how it's like.
Yeah.
I think they're just scratching their heads and getting random people to do random stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
someone saw the Spider-Verse movie, and it's his only association with Spider-Man, and he said, "I have an idea. Nicolas Cage live action Spider-Man Noir, just more unoriginal
Yeah.
Spider-Man stuff that's already
Yeah.
been done."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
superhero stuff isn't recycling the drain yet, but they're getting people who do want to
Oh.
recycle the drain rather than do new stuff.
There is so much stuff right now. Like I'm just gonna skip through some of these because they're very quick. But Agatha All Along.
Why do we
comes out
need
later
this?
this
Who's
year.
asking for this show?
I kind of want to see what they do because I enjoyed.
It's
I
you.
enjoyed. I did enjoy her
It was
performance.
Brent all
but
along.
It was Brent all along. But I did enjoy her character. But yeah, you're right. It has to carry a massive. September 18th.
I just every time I see something like that, it's millions of dollars spent on what's like the kind of a meme.
Star Wars Acolyte. We're going to talk about that very soon. But yeah, when does Star Wars
Release
Acolyte
in
release?
2
It's
weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, on the 4th of June. And we're going to go into that in just a second. As I said, I just want to skip through some of these. Yeah, Vision. Do we need to see a Vision series? I guess we need to see a
I
Vision
think
series
they want to
soon.
adapt.
Yeah, sorry.
they want to adapt Vision Quest.
Hmm.
Sure. I think they should adapt Tom King instead of doing WandaVision. I think they
Yeah.
should have not instead of. I think they should have mixed more of Tom King's Vision book
Right.
with that, because that was an introspective, really
Yeah.
dark take on the character of a guy who lives with these weird notions of he was made in the form of a body of a mass murdering robot,
Okay.
and he doesn't. No, does he have a soul? Does anyone actually
Right.
love him, or do they just pretend? It's really this weird introspective book.
Right.
And I think
Right.
it's a little too late to try to do something like that again with Vision.
I feel like
Maybe the
we've gone
whole
too long
White
since the
Vision. I
TV
don't know,
show
the
of
whole TV show.
WandaVision. Yeah, that's it.
And it's
Vision's
10 minutes of a
so
movie, of an
yeah,
Avengers movie. It's not.
yeah,
It's not a
yeah,
6-episode TV show that costs
yeah,
$100 million.
yeah, yeah. But the cool thing about this, Terry Mathis, Mathalis, Matalis, I think is how it's pronounced. He did produce the Picard series 3, which was very good. So I feel comfortable with his,
I don't doubt the talent involved
yeah,
with it. I just
yeah,
think it's a weird subject matter.
sure,
They took WandaVision and I think right after WandaVision did huge. They were like
yeah,
Agatha Vision.
yeah,
And I think that instead of looking in that direction, they should look towards Young Avengers and trying to
hmm,
streamline that forward
yeah,
first,
yeah,
rather than try and just give every character who people like a little bit
yeah,
their own side story.
yeah,
I just think it overextends people's interest.
yeah. Other quick Marvel notes. This came up today on the feed. I don't know how real that is.
Yeah, no, that's
That
Dormammu
is.
has to return.
So
This
they're
is
gonna do.
spoilers.
Okay.
Him and Clea have some relation. I won't go too deep into that,
Okay. All
but
right.
Dormammu and Clea
Okay.
are family.
Okay. We see our first look of what the new Falcon is going to look like in
Happy
this image.
Torres.
Yeah. So I guess they changed up the Falcon costume. I guess that's again
That's
brave new
the
world
comic. It's
buildings.
pretty comic accurate for
Oh,
the
really?
second Falcon.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those characters that I wish was developed more in the comics. He's one of those like
Hmm.
classic sidekick characters where it's like,
Right.
oh man, he could be so cool if anyone gave him an actual plot and
Okay.
didn't just have him attached to
Yeah.
Cap the whole time.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, again, I enjoyed Falcon's look beforehand. I'm looking forward to seeing. Oh God, mental block on his name. The actor plays Captain America now. Um, ah, why have I forgot
No,
his
I've
name?
got a mental block.
Yeah,
Oh, Mackie.
yeah, Mackie. Yes, I enjoyed his character of when he played Falcon. So I'm curious to see his performance as Captain America. I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be fun. Blade again. We just talked about that, but yeah, it looks like they found a new writer again for the Blade story. I don't know. Then of course, Fantastic Four. We've got a few name drops. That was a few weeks ago, but a few
I think we
additional
have John
actors.
Malkovich in the movie.
Yeah.
I think he could be the puppet master. Pull up a picture of the puppet master real quick. Let me see if
One
I
second.
can.
All right. Okay.
I was like trying to think about who he could be.
Images.
The puppet master looks just like him.
I can't find. I keep getting the film Puppet Master, so I don't know other
I got a
characters.
picture.
Okay, one sec. Let me enlarge that. Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they put him as a to be determined kind of name for a character
I
that we
think
don't
there's
need
going
to
to
be
be a
announced.
few. I think Paul Walter Hauser might
Hmm.
be Mole Man.
Yeah. Are
I
they
think there's
actually
going
even
to be
going
a
to do
few.
Doom in this though? I wonder then.
No, I think
You
they're
don't
going
think
to
so?
save Doom
Really? Wait on Doom for a little bit.
because it's in an alternate universe.
Hmm. Okay.
This is what I don't like about being alternate universes. These
Yeah.
characters need to have history with each other and their world for them to
Right.
feel like like cohesive. I think it's such a bad idea to take a character, put them in a new universe, say you live here now, care
Right.
about this world and this world only, and never think about going home.
Uh huh.
It's just I think that's just impossible
Yeah.
writing. It doesn't make sense. It's just
Yeah.
servicing an idea rather than a story.
Yeah. Speaking of jumping universes, totally different, but
He's playing his
Jeffrey Wright
character
is
through
going
the
to be playing.
game.
Yeah. Again, just another piece of information there.
Anyone
Uh,
that played the game, you know exactly who he's playing.
okay.
It's the
All
same
right.
character. He just will probably
Yeah.
not have hair in the
Yeah.
show.
Do you think he will play a live action
Watcher?
Watcher?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be
That'd be
down
in
for that.
Secret Wars will show up. I mean,
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. It'd be an
That's
easy
cool.
act. It'd be easy for him to just do one like a solo cameo on a green
Right.
screen.
Yeah. We'll jump into some DC news a bit later. I was going to jump into a bit of Acolyte stuff. So, Acolyte, we mentioned before, is coming out in 2 weeks' time, or less than 2 weeks' time now. Several people who I've connected with on YouTube and everything like that, they got to go to see a screening of the Acolyte that aired at the what's it called? The theater in Hollywood. The El Capitan Theater in Hollywood. These people also ended up by, they had a whole pile of actors who, appeared there, and they had some of the Ahsoka actors. They had, what's his name, who plays Cal Kestis. They were all there at the premiere
Oh,
kind of
nice,
thing.
Cameron Monaghan.
But yeah, he was there. Yeah, and then this was a photo from behind the scenes of some of the other YouTubers who were lucky enough to actually get to go and meet Dave Filoni up at Lucasfilm. And some of their channels, they're going to actually be doing some stuff this week, dropping video. The two people I know specifically will connect with is Kyle Katarn, who's the one who's to the right of Dave Filoni, and then Carly, who is the one to the left of the director of The Acolyte there. So I'll be interested to see what they actually start talking about with Acolyte. But they all seem to enjoy it. There seem to be some positive reviews. They're saying that it's a very different form of Star Wars than what we've seen before. So I don't know if that's kind of like going to be proceeded well or not so well.
I
I'm
think it's gonna
curious.
be a little more serious. I think it's gonna be. I think the High Republic's gonna not have that same kind of adventure
Yeah,
as like the original trilogy did, but that's only because the characters are a little more primitive. They're not
yeah,
primitive, but it'd be like going back 200 years and saying, "Hey, you guys want to go on a road trip?" And they'd say,
yeah,
"What? You mean travel?"
yeah.
Like it's just there's different vibe in a different time.
It also seems a lot of the fighting techniques are very different. Anything we've seen from the trailers have been mostly just like force moves and force deflection rather than full on lightsaber
I think that's
fights.
just hiding some of the cool
I think it's
lightsaber
gonna be.
work.
Oh, I think so too. But I also want to see how that plays out. We see a little bit of that in the prequels. Anakin and Obi-Wan kind of do a little bit of force, pushing against each other, and we see it in the Clone Wars as well. And well, actually, we see it in Kenobi because Vader, when he goes up against Reva, is full on like Vader doesn't even have a lightsaber out. He's just like and just force pushing it. I think that was a cool use of the Force. I'm just interested and invested in seeing new Force stories that come around the Force at that time, stuff that we haven't seen before. I'm curious to see how that all plays out. Acolyte also is going to be at 6 p.m., which is putting it, the day earlier. So Tuesday night of the 3rd actually is the release date in the end. And we're going to get 2 episodes, first 2 episode drop. So I feel like we'll definitely be doing a reaction to that and getting a curious thoughts on that. Just stopping through a few images. This is the Jedi Temple, like 200 years earlier or whatever. I like it. It's Coruscant is a very different look and vibe at this time period, and we're seeing that they've taken time and care to break down Coruscant and see, you know, visually at least how this is gonna look and be cool.
I love that shot of all the Jedi's together. I mean, it's
Yeah,
been very, very long since we've
yeah.
seen a lot of Jedi's together, and
Oh, totally.
we've never seen them in the HD age,
You're
which
right.
is
Yeah.
crazy to
Yeah,
me.
last time we saw
I've
like a
been
bunch
saying
of
that.
Jedi was Attack of the Clones, really, when we see all
I was
those
talking to
Jedi's.
Mark Bernardin
Yeah.
about this.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about how Mace Windu for sure didn't die in episode
Mace
three,
Windu
but
is dead, trust me. No.
I mean, he writes a book right now that happens to
Uh-huh,
be
uh-huh.
called Mace Windu. So I'm gonna leave it to Mark to his
Sure.
opinion. But we're
Uh-huh,
also talking about how like I always say like, oh yeah, I'd love to see more Jedi content. And everyone
uh-huh.
bashes on me saying the Jedi are overexplored. I'm like, no, they're not. Like it's
If
been
they
very
tell a
long
really
since
good
we've
story
seen.
about the Force and something different that we haven't seen, then that's going to be a good
I
story.
what I think me and Mark Bernardin both said though was
Yeah.
it's been like 20 years since we've seen like a movie about more than one Jedi. Like
Right.
it's always
Yeah.
about like one Jedi, one Sith. They
Yeah.
go back to the new trilogy, and then even with the Clone Wars, it only focused on the same Jedi we've seen. It's been
Yeah.
20 years since we've seen all new Jedi. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just like a solo doesn't know shit about the Force, but like an
Right.
actual
Yeah.
Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what he pointed out to me about like Rey and Luke. He was like,
Yeah.
they don't know shit about the Force. Like when we
Right.
see them, they're
Well,
new at
I mean,
this.
the books are there. With again, the books leave.
No. When we see them
yeah.
in those movies,
Sure. Oh yeah, it's only
they're
for two.
new at that.
Sure.
I mean, by the end of Rey,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she's a little more trained than Luke is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the point
Yeah.
in those movies is that they don't really aren't trained by like the Jedi Academy the way that like
No.
the High Republic is.
Oh no,
those are Jedis who
and
know their
I
shit.
think with the Rey arc, that leaves a very interesting interpretation as to how they're going to rebuild a Jedi temple. I think that is a fascinating. How do you rebuild?
I think it's going
Jedi
to combine.
and
with
how
the
do you change
Mandalorian.
that? Yeah, and how do you change that? See, I don't feel like that is.
No, I mean
going
she's
to-
going to combine with
Oh.
with what Luke is building in the Mandalorian. I think she's going to find.
But here's the thing:
that-
she's got these books, these Jedi, ancient
Yoda
Jedi
burned those
texts,
books.
and what?
You ought to burn those books.
No, what the books? She had them at the end of the last film. They were in the Falcon.
No, don't you? Am I misremembering this?
No.
She's standing in front of the ancient text library, whatever.
Yeah.
And a light like
Correct.
a lightning bolt or
Yes.
whatever strikes it and burns
Yes.
all the books.
Yeah.
And Yoda goes, "You don't need those. Those are crap anyway."
Right, but at the end, she'd already actually pulled them out because, or Luke, someone
Oh,
had pulled
had
them
she?
out. Oh yeah,
Let us know
you saw
that.
them in the. Actually, it was at the end of the Last Jedi. The books are sitting
on her
there in the
caravan
Falcon
thing.
in a drawer under a chair in the Falcon. You see a very brief.
Yeah, before she buries the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you've got this. Actually, I think it was actually. Honestly, I think it was. Yeah, it was somewhere in between there. Anyway, I can't remember exactly which moment. But the thing is that the interpretation of those books, because they're ancient Jedi texts, obviously from before. I'm going to assume before the time of the.
I'm gonna guess High Republic. I think
I'm going to
that's
guess.
gonna
I'm
be-
going to guess before the High Republic.
Because when I talked to Charles
yeah.
Soule, who worked on the High Republic and is an executive story editor at Lucasfilm,
Right.
he always made it seem like the High Republic could be the kind of that middle ground between all the eras of Star Wars is what they're
Right.
trying to go for. Because it seems so
Right.
vastly different. Then the
Yeah.
more you read it, you see elements of the Clone Wars, you see
Yeah.
elements of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
You see, I think they're going to kind of connect back with Rey, finding all this High Republic era texts and rebuilding the Jedi Order to be that kind of Jedi Order and not what we've seen in the prequel movies.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm more curious to see what James Mangold does with the first Jedi, because I feel like even though people are saying that it could be boring, I feel like there are Force users before they became Jedi and before they became Sith.
I just don't like the idea that one guy is like, no, I get to do the first one. I call dibs, first Jedi. Like,
See-
I don't know. To me, that seems like I don't think there should be a first Jedi. I think that's such a weird idea.
Elijah had to jump off. He had some other stuff he had to deal with, so he was only on for a short time. See, I
Doesn't it seem
kind
a
of
little arrogant to be like,
but-
I'm the guy
but-
that gets to create the first
no,
Jedi.
but here's the thing. It's like okay, all right. Let me tell you what I would honestly love to see them do with that. Think about the gods and the Titans. The Titans were the first, and then they created the gods. And the gods were the children of the Titans, and eventually the Titans overpowered the gods and defeated the gods of defeated the Titans and took over. Now, if you consider the fact that they've already introduced an element that could be considered the Titans with the Mortis story arc, and we've seen that in Ahsoka now. We saw that in the Clone Wars in season 3, I think it was. You've got these characters who are Force users before they became Jedi and Sith. And so what if they actually eventually adapted the children, which is the new children of the Force, who become the Jedi and the Sith? What if they took on the personas because of their change? And that would be an interesting story.
I wouldn't count on James Mangold to really go with the lore. I think it's going to be very much, this is Jeff Jedi, the first Jedi. He's the coolest Jedi.
I feel like
Jedi.
No, see, that's the thing. I don't. I mean, I think it'd be a bad idea, but I feel like that.
I mean, we'll have to see,
I feel like Greek mythology is very important for that time period of a storytelling. And of course, George Lucas has always gone back to historical elements, whether it ancient, Chinese,
It's not
Japanese
George Lucas
mythology.
doing it. That's what
I
worries
know,
me.
but that was the ground that George Lucas always set Star Wars on, and the good storytelling that has been done needs to come from something historical like that. And I feel like that would be a very cool place to take it from, where you've got, the ancients before they even were called Jedi, before they made up the name Jedi, and make it that the children of these of this powerful force race becomes that. They also would be the Watchers. They'd be the ones that created the portals that allowed us, the world between worlds.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff is before the time of the Jedi. That feels like that kind of exists in a Titan era of the Titans, rather than an era of the gods. And so to see that play out, I think there'd be some really cool arcs that could play out in that. Something different that we've not seen from Star Wars before. And I feel like that was, then you could get the creation of the first lightsaber from the Jedi, and that would be a cool moment as well. So
I think it has some promise, but I don't know. I just think it's a very hard task to do, and I think even worse, it's a very kind of
it's gonna be.
arrogant thing to say.
Yeah.
I get to create the first Jedi. It's one
Well,
of those stories that can only be done once.
I don't. I think Lucasfilm kind of were the ones who kind of said, we want to have that story told. What would you be most interested in telling? And I feel like,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just jaded because I've seen this in comic books a bunch, where companies go back and they go, we're going to show the first superhero, someone you've never heard of. It's called Ultra Super Awesome Man.
Right. Yeah.
And it's going to be the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Well,
and I'm worried they're going to take that approach.
Have you watched The Legend of Korra before?
Yeah.
Okay, the 2-episode arc that deals with the first Avatar, that was a phenomenal story. And it dealt with, the one character going off on an adventure. That's another way that this story could go, is that it could be someone who's it takes place with, you've got higher entities, you've got higher powers that are there, and the first person to become the first Jedi, or in that case the first Avatar, was taken on that journey to explore the different points of the Avatar state through the lion turtles throughout the world. And I thought that was a really cool story, and that was also based off of myth and legend and stuff too. So I would hope that when they go to do a story about the first Jedis and the first Sith, which you can't have one without the other, obviously.
I mean,
It feels like that they need to go that route with the idea of the gods and the Titans, or the first Avatar state with that. And there's all those elements that would work really well for a Star Wars film that could be told creatively and still have that same draw of what those legendary stories told. And I think it needs to be a legendary story. Not necessarily, about how good or how rewarding the first Jedi was going to be, but more so about the journey of that creation. I feel like is what that story needs to be told. That's just my opinion, kind of thing. Just quickly with Acolyte, one of the images in the trailer, because they dropped a new trailer, you see this new ship which looks really cool. We've got some cool character posters, and there's not much else I can really say. I've been avoiding a lot of more recent comments about Acolyte because I don't want to know too much. I want to go in with a bit of surprise. So I'm curious to see. It feels like we're getting a story that there's someone who is presumed going to be a betray the Jedi, who is not really betraying the Jedi, and there's going to be a secret. That part of the story feels like we've seen before. I mean, I feel like we're going to get this element of like, oh, it really is this person who is the student of the Sith Lord or whatever.
I feel like we've seen that too much in too many different kinds of things recently.
Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to play out. But again, just the first reports from people who have seen the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte saying they're enjoying it. They're curious to see where it goes. So, but they are huge fans as well. So it's like I am curious either way. Quick little Skeleton Crew little note here. Also, they've dropped some sort of promo thing, but this is the first time we've seen any images from the new Skeleton Crew
Interesting. That's a weird thing to
characters.
promo characters you've never
Yeah,
seen. Buy their merch before you even know who they are.
yeah, pretty much.
No, we can't tell you your names. It's a
Yeah,
secret. Buy
yeah,
their pins.
yeah, yeah. Lucasfilm secrets are like, but they're basically that's the first images we've seen of the kids, at least of what the kids look like. I still don't think Skeleton Crew will develop any further than what this show is. I think it'll just disappear into the wind because these kids have now grown so much more. By the time they try to include them into any part of the new Marvel universe,
They
sorry,
filmed like
the new Star Wars
almost two and a
universe.
half years ago, right?
Yeah, it was shot at the same time as Ahsoka, and Ahsoka dropped, last year, and was shot the year before. So we are coming up onto 2 years since that show. Yeah, more kids in the show. Yeah, again, I don't know if they're Force users. I don't know too much about it. I mean, there's going to be a story to be told, but I don't know if I need new characters or brand new characters to be telling this story. I feel like we've got other things that could be more interesting. So we'll see. We'll have to see. Also, we didn't really talk about this. I don't think you were around, Max, but the trailer for the Rebuild the Galaxy September 13th is the new
It's
Lego
with Darth Jar.
Darth Jar Jar, who's voiced by Ahmed Best. But they've
Yeah.
actually released a title of names related to this now.
Oh, Mark Hamill's coming back.
Yeah, Mark Hamill's coming back.
Oh, Bobby
Gaten,
Moynihan's voicing Jedi Bob. That's awesome.
yeah, so we've got a couple of interesting,
Do you know who Jedi
voice
Bob
names.
is?
Jedi Bob. No,
Are
I
you
don't.
familiar?
No, I do not know. I can't recall.
He's the Lego Jedi.
Oh, he's the Lego Jedi? Okay. Wait, the
Lego's the
Lego Jedi?
Jedi Bob.
Wait, the Lego
Lego.
Jedi.
He's
There's the one that
Lego.
looks like there's the one that they did in the that looks like George Lucas, but I don't think that was Jedi.
No.
Okay.
Here's another name.
Oh yeah.
I'll show you a
Okay.
picture of him.
Yeah. Tony Rizzoli is playing Dev. I don't know which character that is exactly. It looks like they've got a few new characters, but it looks fun. I want to do a
This is
reaction
Bob
to
the
it.
Jedi.
Oh, okay.
Um,
All right.
He's a pretty standard Jedi. But his
Okay.
name's Bob.
Okay. Bob the Jedi. All right. Yeah. Okay. I can't wait. What was he? Did he appear in the Halloween special or any of the other ones we watched?
He's been around.
Okay, I can't remember.
He's a Republic gunship set in 2002. That is so specific. You know what's crazy is I totally had that set, and you are 100%
Oh, really?
right. It came with some nondescript Jedi's.
Oh, really? Well, that's funny. Jedi Bob
I
was
think
one
it came
of them.
with it came with him and
Okay.
I can't remember. I mean, not Plo Koon. I can't remember who else it
Right.
came with. Someone else like that.
Right. Okay. The yeah, I mean yeah. Yeah, I will definitely do a reaction. I think we did a reaction to the Halloween special. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was like silly but fun. But this one looks kind of fun too. I mean, come on. The fact that there's
I think
Darth
they're
Jar
leaning into
Jar.
the memes of Darth Jar Jar.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. I mean, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, man. What else is there? Jeez.
One of DC news this week.
Oh yeah, DC news. Hang on. Let's jump into DC. Hang on. So yeah. Any last thoughts on Star Wars, or just we'll be reacting to the Acolyte on every episode for sure. So
Yeah,
I'm
looking forward to it.
yeah, me too. I am too. All right. So DC news. James Gunn shares Lanterns update. Looks like we've got creative team writers behind that now.
Yeah,
Damien
Tom
Lindelof.
King, Damon Lindelof.
Lindelof, yeah. Chris Mundy, I don't know what he's done.
I don't know. Oh, Chris Mundy. I think it's the. I think he worked on Ozark. I think they one of the people
Oh,
that got
okay.
in the show is the showrunner for Ozark, and then Tom
Okay.
King is a DC writer
All right.
who's been around the block for a couple
Yeah.
years. I mean,
Now, Lanterns was planned to be a TV show, right? Not a movie. Is that right?
yeah, this is gonna be a TV show.
That's it, yeah. A Green Lantern fan film? Oh dear. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm I'm curious to see what they do with it. If they do the TV series right, it should be cool. And I'm pretty sure, again, I feel comfortable that James Gunn has got
The problem with
the right.
Green Lantern is it's so much lore, and it's what
Yeah,
do you choose? What do you leave out? What do you
right.
think is acceptable to teach
Hmm.
fans when? I mean, I think Green Lanterns are hard property. I think the only way to really do it
Well,
cohesively is to do it like Jeff Johns did and
right.
really do a full. He took over Green Lantern, basically not like a full reboot, but a full refresh of.
Yeah,
He starts on Earth, then he goes into space, and you meet everyone. And he did
yeah,
everything very progressively.
yeah.
And I think if you do it TV shows, you have definitely have that benefit to be able to slowly introduce wider aspects of the Green Lantern Corps, because
I
it's called Lanterns.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just going to be about Hal Jordan. I think it's going to be
No,
about
yeah, but it is how.
wider
No,
Green
wait, it's not.
Lanterns.
Is it Hal Jordan that they're basing this around that you've wrote
I
about?
assume so. I mean, I
Right.
think if
You
James
haven't.
Gunn wants to start the Lantern show, I think he's going to have Hal
Mhm.
Jordan, and then he already has Guy Gardner cast. I think
Right.
he's probably going to have a Jon Stewart in there.
Yeah.
Hopefully they lead into a Kyle Rayner eventually because I like Kyle.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
But
they'll
but
probably have
wait,
Kilowog and Danny back there.
but in the Superman film, oh, what's his name? Firefly actor.
Nathan
Nathan
Fillion
Fillion
is
is
playing Guy
playing.
Gardner.
Oh, Guy Gardner. That's who it was. Okay, so I'm
You would
wondering
never choose him to be your lead in a Green Lantern project. I mean, he's
No,
going
no,
to
no,
be the
no.
support.
No, I mean I feel like that Guy Gardner might be at the end of his story arc because it's a much older Green Lantern, so that leaves open for a younger generation of Green Lanterns too. Is what I would
Anchorman just
imagine.
asked my favorite question ever.
Oh
How
yeah.
do you feel about Hal Jordan becoming Parallax? So I have strong opinions about Emerald
Okay.
Twilight, and my opinions is I love that book so much. Hal
Okay.
Jordan just lost everything. He just lost his city. He lost the love of his life. He
Hmm.
loses it all, and the only thing he has left is the desire for power. And Parallax takes over his brain, the retcon is Parallax takes over his body and mind, and he goes on a killing spree, murdering all of his Green Lantern friends.
Okay.
Um, was he actually evil? That's been debated. I don't. I think he was taken over. I think eventually they made that clear that he was taken over by Parallax. Was the full official explanation. Um, but I think it's a great moment for Hal Jordan. I think it's how low a superhero could fall to give rise to, because that's the arc that actually gives birth to Kyle Rayner.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, Parallax is an evil entity. It's kind of like the same way with, is Jean Grey evil because Phoenix committed genocide? It's a similar question. Um, I think Hal Jordan himself isn't evil, but in that moment, his body committed an evil act. Like, there's no way him killing Kilowog wasn't totally evil. But he fell at rock bottom, and he had to become the Spectre and take everything back for it. But yeah, I like that story arc. It's one of my favorites. Green Lantern, what is it, 47 to 50? I think is the story arc.
Cool. I mean, we'll find out more as more story, more news drops on Lanterns. But I mean, I enjoy what the Justice League animated series did with the Lantern Corps because they did give us little bits and pieces for those who didn't know anything at the time, and I actually enjoyed the backstory that they followed up on. But yeah, to see this, you're right. I feel like we need the understanding of the history of the Lantern Claw in some form or way, and not be kind of fed into it through the
I
eyes of
don't
a
think it should be
character
an
like we.
origin story. I think
Yeah,
it should just
yeah.
he
Oh,
should, he
they
should
should
already be a
exist.
Green Lantern.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've had too much origin stories. I think
Yeah.
an origin story on
Hmm.
top of
Yeah.
learning about all the Green Lantern stuff is a lot of info.
Yeah. I think James Gunn's
Um,
going to go into all this new material knowing for the most part that these characters have history already, and you, as long as you can catch on to what he and they want to tell, then you'll be able to feed into the story arc of the current situation of these characters. And if he does that well, and if the people he brings in and the teams he brings in do that well, I feel like
I
that's a
trust
good way
Tom
to take
King
it.
more than anyone else on that team. I think he's a terrific writer. I think he has a great
Right.
sense of DC. I mean, he's written for DC for past 10 years. I
Right.
can't remember when Grayson came out, but probably 2014, 2012, something like
Right.
10 plus years maybe. I think if anyone's got I know he's also one of the architects of James Gunn's wider DC world.
Yeah.
I trust Tom King. Damon Lindelof, I think he's an amazing talent. Watchmen.
He's hit and miss for me. He's hit and miss.
I was about to say I think he's very talented, but I think sometimes his talent gets in the way of his storytelling.
Yeah.
I think Watchmen was a terrifically done show. I thought some of the story elements were just a little lackluster for me.
Right.
And I'm hoping with this team, because I loved Ozark.
The balance will bring that together.
Yeah. I'm hoping that with this team will really balance each other out
to
create something super strong.
I also hear Lindelof's kind of hard to work with too. He's got this ego about him, from what I understand.
That's what worries me. Tom King is a very easygoing guy, but he's also like a former CIA Marine agent. Like he was in the Marines and the CIA. He's done. I'm sure he's done some crazy shit. I'm sure Damon.
So he can't be manipulated to do something that he doesn't want to do. At the same time, Tom
King he's the nicest guy in the world. But who's gonna fuck with a CIA agent? Like, let's be real. Like, we both been in Hollywood. We've both seen those producers who are and directors who are so up their own ass. Right. You think they would pull that shit if they know the guy they were yelling at was in the CIA and operated in like Iraq and Afghanistan for the CIA? Like that's some crazy shit. That's just like, I'm not gonna mess with this guy. I'm gonna be really easy to work with this guy.
Hey,
I'm just talking out of my ass. I'm mostly joking.
That's funny. A few other quick DC related news. Lois and Superman. Tom Cavanaugh.
Why is Tom Cavanaugh? Why does he?
It's like they brought him in from the Flash to kind of end that.
I think he just has a lifetime contract with the CW, which is weird.
Maybe.
I love Tom Cavanaugh.
I thought he was good in season one. He was great in season. But he was also really good in season one of the Flash.
I mean, he's always great in everything. I think he needs to get on better products other than the CW. And the problem with the CW is they're really good to their actors. They're like, what do you want? Do you want to direct? Okay, you can direct how many episodes you want. Like, they are really good to their actors. Because they know it's like not the highest paying job. They know it's
exactly. Either way, I mean, I don't know if they need his character in that, because they kind of established this Superman as being totally separate from the rest of the CW. So the only thing is, he did end up by being he ended up his arc in the Arrowverse as being what was the name of the character? He was able to jump. He could see different dimensions or something. I can't remember.
He was Pariah.
Pariah.
I forgot. I trying to remember. I was like, what do you mean? Because I thought he was just a variation of him. But
I'm curious as to how
Pariah.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what version of him shows up.
Yeah. Well, this show comes out. I think it starts playing in September. I think it's September is when they've got the final 10 episodes playing. So it'll be out soon.
I have liked that.
I was surprised that you did. I was surprised you didn't like season 3. I love season 3. I love the emotional element to it with Lois Lane's arc, and
season 3 was very lackluster compared to the rest.
Really?
of them.
See, I thought it was the best.
I barely remember it compared to the other two. Also,
really,
I vaguely remember a cult of like multiverse. I don't even know who they prayed to anymore.
No, it was. That was season 2, I think, wasn't it? Season 3. Yeah, season 3 was about Lois Lane. She had the cancer, and it was dealing with.
Who was the villain?
It was
the villain was Bruno Mannheim.
Yeah, not Mannheim.
I actually loved his Bruno Mannheim. I thought that was a great take on that villain. I just thought, it was a weird decision to give Lois cancer for a season. I don't know. Maybe it's because I have a lot of family members who have dealt with cancer, and it just feels like a weird thing to throw away in a TV season. Like, what if she has cancer this season? I don't know. It's artificial.
For me, it was. And they introduced Lex as well, which is Michael Chiklis. I don't want to get it mixed up with the other Michael, because Michael Chiklis.
It's not Michael Chiklis.
Yeah,
it was the other one, the one from Walking Dead.
From Walking Dead, and he's a good actor too. I thought he was great as Lex.
I thought he was fine.
A couple of times we see him at the end of season. It's a very different looking Lex, so that's why I'm curious. He's. I'm
so annoyed that everyone decided. I know they're doing it. Like James Gunn's doing a classic Lex now. Mm-hmm. That bothered me in every show. Of like, hey, this is Lex Luthor. What if we gave him a beard? Like, what? I don't know. I just think it's so silly. Like this guy's
Yeah.
known for his very specific look, and everyone's like, "What if we just changed it up and made him look a little edgier?"
Yeah. Well, either way, we'll see how that plays out. And then last little bit of news there, at least that I had, was Superman Woman of Tomorrow will premiere in theaters June 2026. June 26, 2026.
I'm surprised Tom King isn't writing that movie, considering he wrote the book.
Oh, really?
That's what I
Who?
thought was weird. He's
Yeah.
working on Lanterns,
Right.
and he's an architect of the DC universe. And one of the first
Yeah.
things announced was they're adapting his specific Supergirl short story
Right.
and a limited series.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's not writing it, which is weird.
You don't want to spread people too thin. So, I mean, have we seen the full writing crew for Supergirl though?
From what I understand, it's this. I can't remember her name. She just won. She won like a short film festival, and James Gunn found her through that or Instagram
Yeah.
or something like that. But she's very. She doesn't have that many credits on her, but James Gunn saw something in her and wants to work with her.
Okay.
So
All right.
you know what? No opinion on someone who doesn't have that much of a
Yeah.
history. Because it's hard to have opinions like that.
Yeah. Connect all the movies. It's possible. I don't know if
I
they'll
know. I
even
think
do
it's.
that.
I think they're going to stand alone in the term of Superman is going to be one movie, Supergirl is going to be another movie, and those characters might meet eventually, or probably will meet eventually. Those are just two separate stories. I mean,
You
Superman
don't
takes
think we'll
one-
see Supergirl pop up in Superman then? I kind of feel like we do.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, that would be kind of cool. And we're not going to see Superman as Supergirl. That's just too
Right.
specific of a story of her
Sure.
and her own specific identity away
Yeah.
from Superman, which is pretty important to the book of that.
Yeah.
I won't get too much into that because they're making the movie and I don't want to spoil anything in the
Right,
movie,
right.
but that
Yeah.
book is very much about her and her own identity away from Clark.
Right.
And,
Okay.
you know, I think they're just going to be two separate standalone stories for how it's going to, you know, everyone perceives Superman one way and that makes them perceive Supergirl that way too.
Yeah.
I think Supergirl is going to be that movie to kind of break that vibe and be like, no, she's her own character.
Yeah.
She could appear in other people's projects and not just be a vague super person.
Yeah. We're going a little long. I want to just cover a few last quick things. Deadpool. They had a. Well, did you see the trailer yet for the promo for the? Oh,
Yeah,
first
I
thing,
did.
yeah. There was a which was on at the beginning of Furiosa, rated R trailer for. It wasn't even a trailer. It was like a don't turn your
Silence
cell
your phone
phones
ad
on,
at
silence
the
your phone
studio.
ad at the movies, which was actually kind of funny. It was actually really pretty sweet. Had a good laugh out of it, kind of thing. Also, box office for Deadpool and Wolverine. The first day ticket sales of rated R have broken records from $8 to $9 million for opening day. So I think this film is going to make over $1 billion. It feels like it's the kind of film that's going to drive an audience to go see it again and again, if done well, of course.
Yeah.
Should be that. Yeah, that's all I really had on Deadpool, kind of thing. And then let's just end it here because we're going to do a bigger thing, I feel like, when we get all the guys together. But we do want to talk about a little bit about X-Men 97. Season 2 is currently in production, along with Season 3, from what we understand. What were your,
I believe that they're
thoughts?
honoring Bo's ideas for the second season.
Yeah,
That just makes me so happy because Bo DeMaio, I mean, it's funny how mixed I went into him on going into the show, but after seeing the show, I'm such a big fan. This guy, he
Right.
gave us everything we needed in an X-Men show and more. Like, it's crazy. I've been rewatching it so much. I said it to you. I was rewatching Pride of the X-Men because I ran out of stuff of X-Men to watch.
fair enough. But as a season, I think it worked really well. And not watching the original series, except for maybe season 1, and not even remember it 20 years ago, kind of thing. I thought this was a really solid season. Had some really great animation, really great music. I believe the soundtrack is now available. Also, if you didn't get the chance, have you watched this yet? The Marvel's Assembled,
I did.
X-Men 97. Yeah, I thought it was a really good 1 hour, little behind the
It
scenes
was all right.
documentary.
I mean,
Yeah, it was some good
it
interviews
was a
with the
little
actors.
patty, they were kind of patting themselves in the back the whole time. I do have a little bit of a problem with, they didn't talk about any of the comic creators in that. I think they should have
Yeah,
at least mentioned the people whose stories they were adapting because they
Fair
briefly
enough.
touched on the show was successful because we used Jim Lee's designs.
Right.
Like, you also used Chris Claremont's stories. Like,
Right.
I think it's just a little empty-handed how none of these writers want to be the guy to say, we adapted most of this stuff. Like, it's not a bad thing to adapt something. I just think,
Yeah.
they're trying
Yeah.
to not treat it like a
It,
dirty
it
word.
feels like, I mean, in something like that, because we've got that very loosely from all of the all the assembled TV shows stuff and the movie stuff,
they don't mention
and
the
the Star Wars
comics.
stuff. Excuse me. They don't go into too much detail. They very Disneyfy it up and give you the simple names that you may already have heard of before.
They pat the
And
actors on the
yeah,
back, and they pat the
yeah,
director on the
yeah,
back, and
yeah,
maybe the writer gets a few
yeah,
words in there. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's very much that Stan Lee era of don't worry about who actually made it, just worry about the faces you love to see.
That's
And
it, yeah, and
I think that's
I
a bit
wish
of a
they
problem.
were
I
paying
think
more credit. That's what the Industrial Light and
yeah,
Magic series did do. That if you remember watching the
yeah.
ILM, they really went
They
into detail
named
about
names. They're like if
names and
someone did
people, and
something,
yeah,
they
that's it.
named it.
Yeah,
But it bothered
yeah,
me how they could do a whole Inferno
yeah,
storyline this season.
hmm
And they didn't want to have to say, well, if you liked that, you should go check out Chris
yeah,
Claremont and Mark Silvestri's Inferno.
yeah,
Like, I to me that seems a little bit of like
yeah,
not honoring what came before you.
yeah.
And I think James Gunn is actually doing a really excellent job of, and you see
Yeah.
any of his trailers.
Every
If you
time
see
he
his
tweets
trailer,
something,
it
he's
says,
tweeting about read this set of comics. He's tweeting about
yeah,
check out this
like
person's
it's
work.
not
Yeah,
hard. I
yeah,
think,
yeah, yeah,
Marvel's so scared of
yeah,
saying,
hmm
"Oh, these aren't our original ideas,"
yeah,
because they Kevin Feige, not Kevin Feige, but the Marvel
yeah,
Studios wants to feel like they're the originals when
yeah.
it's
See, I get it.
adapting. It's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to wear that on their shoulder and give and honor the people that came
hmm
before them.
Yeah, totally. And last two quick little notes. Side note, actually. In a week's time, next week, I think it is on Tuesday, they're dropping the Jim Henson special that's directed by
Ron Howard made that,
yeah, Ron
right?
Howard. Thank you. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That drops next week, I believe it is, which is all about Jim Henson. So I'm curious to see how that they're taking a lot of footage and stuff like that. And then one last thing that came up on the news feed about X-Men related stuff. X-Men lands the Hunger Games writer Michael Leslie. How do you feel about that? That they're gonna
No comment. I'm gonna be too negative. I'm gonna be honest.
okay,
I looked at this guy's filmography.
right.
I'm sure he's a great writer.
Yeah,
I
this is
have
for a
not
live
seen
action. This is for the live action X-Men, by the way. This is yeah.
I've not seen a single thing this guy's made. I'm gonna be honest. He wrote the
Yep.
original draft for Assassin's Creed that they didn't
Right.
make, and the Assassin's Creed movie that did get made wasn't great. I imagine his script was probably better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have no opinion on this guy.
Last thought.
I didn't see
with
Hunger Games, but
yeah, I haven't seen any of his work
the
either.
new one.
Yeah. Last thought when it comes to X-Men animation compared to an X-Men live action film. Do you think we're going to get the same intensity in a live action film that we saw in X-Men '97?
This is what worries me. I don't think it's about intensity. I think X-Men '97 showed what X-Men looks like by a passionate fan. How you could adapt stories, not just by doing them to the T, but taking those ideas and kind of reworking them to fit a narrative that, maybe is making it your own without
Yeah.
stepping on your toes and keeping the characters very honorable and very, very to who they characters are supposed to be. And I think with X-Men movies, they're kind of known for bastardizing all the characters to make them what they need to be for the movie to be cool and for what the writer and director thinks they need to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think if that happens again, we're going to have some shitty movies. I think the X-Men, to me, they're tried and true. They are what they are. I mean, you can't. I think
you can't rewrite those characters. You can't change them up too much.
Storm needs to be a queen. She needs to be regal. You can't have just Halle Berry walking around making jokes about Toads barely taking down one not even low-level supervillain. Like these characters need to be who they are in the books for this movie to work, because that's who they are. It's why the book is successful. I don't think it's about adapting storylines, though. I think if they do Dark Phoenix again, they're screwed already. I think they just need to honor who these characters are and what these stories are about. The X-Men are hated and feared by the Marvel world, but they still dedicate their lives to protecting them. And if they can't get a concept like that in the movie just hammered over the head, I think the biggest problem they could do is that they're scared to make it political. because the X-Men by nature are the most political
Sure. Yeah.
comic team. Like they're not the Avengers, they're the X-Men. They're the ones who take action because they've been persecuted against. And I think they need to do that. They need to do the X-Men story, and the X-Men narrative, and not.
And we haven't
dumb it
seen
down.
we haven't seen that in the MCU at this point. Anything to that level of persecution.
The Superhero Registration Act get blown
Sure.
over like a
Yeah.
match it like a House of Cards. That lasted one movie, and then they were over it.
Yeah. Totally. Anyway, man, we've been going for a little over an hour and a half. So everybody out there who has been watching along, thank you. And if you catch this later, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We will be reacting to a whole pile of things coming up, including the Acolyte specifically, and we'll check out all the other stuff that's coming out too. We'll talk about it all every week. If you get the chance, Jason's not here today, but he has a Twitter account that we are on Tuesday or Wednesday nights, and we'll sit through that. And Max, thanks for joining us for today, and we shall catch you all later. See ya.
Later, everyone.